What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing how I budget for my Disney vacations, and I've actually made my exact budget template available for you guys as well. I am so excited to share this with you guys. So before we dive in, make sure that you are subscribed if you are not already. I would love for you to stick around. I share all kinds of Disney planning content and vlogs from our latest Disney trips. And make sure to give this video a thumbs up as well. It really helps support the channel. And let's get started. Okay, I know for me, the budgeting process of planning a Disney vacation has always been the most challenging part. I am the spender and Andy is the saver. I have no problem just booking the deluxe resort and making all the signature dining reservations and not thinking twice about the cost. And then I have this whole trip planned and in the works, and Andy looks at the numbers and he's like, what in the world? There's no way we can do this. Like, we've got to scale it back. So I knew I had to come up with some kind of budget template to help me really keep things under control and something that would give me a visual when it comes to budgeting. So I had my husband help me out with a Google sheet, and he plugged in all the formulas for me. So now when I budget for my Disney trips, it does all the math for me, and it makes the budgeting part so simple. Budgeting can also be tricky because you have to anticipate a lot of little costs that add up to a very large number at the end of your Disney trip. It's crazy how that happens. In addition to the total cost of your tickets and resort, you know, those big ticket items that you know that number up front, but then at the end of your week, it's really easy to go overboard. So this budget really simplifies that. Again, it takes care of all those little things that you don't think about, and it factors it into the budget for you. So I'm gonna do a screen recording where I show you this budget template because it's way easier to explain when you are looking at it. It definitely has a visual aspect to it, and I'm gonna dive into a lot of depth and explain it in a lot of detail here in a second. And the last thing I'll add before we really dive into it, I have made this budget template available for purchase. So you guys have access to this. Down in the description box below, there's a link where you can access the digital download. So I'm really excited to share this with you guys, and let's go ahead and dive in. All right, welcome to my Walt Disney World budget Google Sheet template. I'm gonna do a basic overview of what this is, and then we'll dive in a little bit deeper into each category, and I will share exactly how this works. So as you can see, this budget includes your resort, tickets or experiences, special ticketed events, travel, dining, and then there's also a subcategory off to the side for shopping. And down below here at the bottom, there is a separate tab for dining. And we'll go over this in way more detail here in a minute, but I wanted to make sure that you saw this tab at the bottom. So this is where you are going to break down breakfast, lunch, dinner, drinks, and snacks for each day of your trip. So all of your dining costs can be calculated here on its own separate tab, and then your total will be reflected back on the main page. The most important thing to note, and I've put a reminder right here, is that all blue cells should not be edited. Basically what this means is anything in blue has a formula attached to it. So you do not need to enter any numbers into the blue cells. These will automatically fill based on the numbers that you've provided in the white boxes. And again, I'll go over what that means here in a second. Okay, let's dive into each category, starting with resort. And I have added a mock trip just to show you how this could be filled out. So this is just an example, but I've inputted these mock trip dates, September 4th through the 8th. We'll be staying at the Contemporary, and I found a great price for a discount for $394 a night. Since we are staying 4 nights, this is our subtotal, and then after tax, that is the total, and then you see that resort total reflected here. I have added 3 more rows in case you are doing a split stay. So I'm going to fill this out just to show you how that price is going to reflect in that resort total. So let's say we're going to stay our last night, we'll do September 8th. We'll stay our last night at the boardwalk. We'll say it's $300 for the night. Our subtotal is $300. And then your total is going to be that after tax price, which you'll see on the Disney website. You don't have to calculate that. Disney will tell you, but it's about 11% for resorts. So that's $333. And as you can see, our resort total just automatically updated based on that number I put in that total after tax. So from here, you'll see that it's actually reflected here as well in this column, which is so cool. I love that this little box gives you all the totals for each category. So this number for resort is going to be reflected from this number right here. So if I go back and remove this, it goes back to that original price. It's reflected here as well as in our grand total. So I'm going to get rid of these again, but I did want to show you, in case you are doing a split stay, you have these additional columns and rows to add in those prices for those nights, your subtotal and your total, and that will be reflected in your grand total for your resort. Moving on to the ticket category, this is where you can also enter your trip dates and then the number of park days you're going to do. So we put 3 park days. We're doing 2 adult tickets. Ellie is still under the age of 3, so we do not have to purchase her a child ticket. We are going to do the park hopper, and the subtotal for 3 park days with a park hopper for 2 adults is $801.02. And then post-tax, which again, you can find on the Disney website as you are going to check out, they'll give you that post-tax number. So that is reflected here. And then I did leave additional lines in case you wanted to add in a special event or another ticketed experience. So for instance, here I've added the Magic Kingdom fireworks dessert party, if that's something you wanted to do, or the Halloween party, the Christmas party, a fireworks cruise, anything like that would fall into this category. So for this one, we'll say it's 1 day, number of tickets. Actually, you know what? This should actually be 1 to reflect that price. 0 children. It is not a park hopper. And the subtotal for that ticket is $108. Post-tax is $119.88. And both of these numbers totaled is reflected right here as well, in addition to that ticket line in the grand total box. So that is where you can add in all of your tickets, and anything you add in this third line as well will be reflected here in your ticket total. Moving on to the next category, we have travel. Now this, I have tried to think through every possible travel scenario that someone might need for their Disney vacation. So if you are driving, you can budget in the cost of gas. If you are flying, this would be your flight budget. And again, if you're flying and you need transportation from the airport to Walt Disney World, this is where you could input that if that's something you are utilizing, like Mears Connect, Sunshine Flyer, or private transportation. You can input that cost right here. If you are renting a car, that cost would go here. And if you are renting a car or you drove to Disney World, you could also factor in resort parking and park parking as well. So all of these numbers are going to total right here for your travel cost total. And then again, that will be reflected here in this line in your grand total box. And again, any edits you make to this are going to update in this number as well as this number as well as this number. So everything is connected and you don't actually have to come up with these totals on your own. You just have to fill out each category. And lastly, our dining category. This one's my favorite, but it's probably the hardest category to budget for. So hopefully this spreadsheet really helps simplify it for you and helps give you a visual, because I know that's what I need when I'm budgeting for dining specifically. It's so easy to go overboard when it comes to dining. So what it has here is a day 1 through 7, and it gives you your total for each day and a grand total for your dining. Again, that's reflected up here in this box as well. But nothing in this category needs to be edited because it's connected to our dining tab right down here. So because this mock trip that I have planned is a 4-day trip, I've only filled out the first 4 days of this, but it does include 7 days worth of dining. So scrolling back up, I've gone ahead and estimated for each meal
where we would be eating, and an estimated cost for each meal. This first one, for instance, Contempo Cafe. What I would typically do is look at the menu ahead of time while I'm creating this budget, go through the menu and decide what I'm gonna order. And that's honestly the most exact way you can budget for each meal. So I can go ahead and factor in drinks, kids' meals, if we want dessert, if I'm gonna go the burger route or a salad, and I can go ahead and estimate what we're going to order based on looking at the menu ahead of time. So my estimated total cost before tax is $45. Because it's a quick service, there is no tip amount. After tax, this line right here is automatically going to add in a 7% tax. At Disney World, depending on where you are in Disney property, tax can range on dining from about 6.5% to 7%. So we've gone ahead and over budgeted that tax amount to 7%. So anything put right here, that number will automatically show up here with an additional 7%. So you do not have to calculate tax on your own. Another really neat feature here, moving down, for dinner, we're planning on California Grill. We are budgeting $150 and a 20% tip is $30. So this total right here, not only does it add in an additional 7% for tax, but it also adds in that $30 for your tip. So anything added in that tip amount box right here will be added to your per item cost as well. So really, really cool. I love this feature. I love how this was built. Thank you to my amazing husband. He figured out the math side of all of this, and it really simplifies tax and tip and all the things that you may not think to budget for. This does that for you. So you will have to estimate that tip amount on your own. So we had to calculate on our own what 20% of $150 would be. But I realize not everyone will tip 20%. Some people like to tip 15, some people tip 25. So depending on what tip amount you personally leave, you can estimate that right here and it will add that to your per item cost. Once you have filled out each meal for each category, you will have your total for each day. So your day 1 total, day 2, day 3, and so on, all of these numbers are going to autofill back on our total page right here down for day 1, day 2, and so on, giving you a grand total for your dining. And then again, it is reflected up here in that grand total box. And the last thing I'll note about these blue cells, because again, this reminder down here, blue cells should not be edited. If you accidentally click on a blue cell and try to edit the number and click enter, this notification is going to pop up. So it's basically letting you know you're trying to edit a part of the sheet that should not be changed accidentally. Do you want to move forward? So the reason this notification pops up is because the formula that adds everything up and gets you those totals, that formula has been locked into that cell. So what you want to do is just click cancel and it'll keep that original number here. If you still for some reason accidentally click OK, just go up to the top here and click the undo button and you should be good to go. But just try not to edit these blue cells. It's going to really simplify your process and keep everything really clean.
All right, well that is how I budget for my Walt Disney World vacations. I hope this tool is so helpful for you guys, and I get so many questions about budgeting for Disney and how I budget for Disney, so I knew I had to make a digital download version of this, and again, I'm just so excited to share this with you guys. So make sure to check it out in the description box below, and again, make sure that you are subscribed if you're not already, and give this video a thumbs up if you found this helpful. And that is it for today, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!